Hello, thanks for tuning in. I'm back to say more, uh, just whatever I feel needs to come out and reach whoever needs to hear this right now. So the feeling I had was to talk about addiction, and we all have some level of addiction. It doesn't have to be a substance. It can be pretty much anything that gives us a sense of control or relief, or something that we turn to that gives us a sense of peace. But it's not always the right path to the peace. It's just the only path that we can grasp when we're stuck in our ego and we're not connected to our truth. So all addictions have this in common. It's not actually a huge difference. Just the main difference is the severity of the addiction and what the addiction is. But there's always this constant need for a human to latch on to something until we truly, truly feel the truth of who we are. That addiction could change. You might let one thing go, but then something else. So it shifts. It fluctuates. Gets worse, gets better. And I've had my own journey with addiction. And I had points where I was almost anorexic. I say almost because I was never diagnosed. People would tell me that I looked anorexic. Very, very obsessed. I was very obsessed in my early 20s with being very thin, but to the point where I took the action. I barely ate anything and I exercised like crazy. I would not miss a day at the gym. So whatever I was going through at the time, I kind of consciously knew that this was the one thing that I could control, was just my physical body. And then something shifted in me through someone's words. I won't mention names, but let's just say someone close to me said that I needed to basically get fatter. And something inside me dropped. I was like, oh, I'm just going to start binging. And it completely switched to this compulsive overeating, but it was another level of addiction because I was hurting myself, eating so much to numb my pain to the point where I could not move. It was very, very severe. I would call it, again, undiagnosed bulimia. Although I couldn't be diagnosed, it wasn't severe enough. But it was some spectrum. Like there's a spectrum of all these things. You know, I don't like diagnoses. I'm just giving it a name so that people can understand it when I say it. Yeah. So that was my journey. It was food addiction, diet, body control, body, I don't know if you want to call it dysmorphia, still not really seeing the actual shape of my body. Yeah. I went through my changes through, actually, the Kundalini yoga training helped me a lot, as well as the addiction training. And it helped me realize what actually was happening in my addictions. Things have shifted, so things are much better now. Still tweaking things here and there, but it's nowhere near what it was. The main addiction, though, that I deal with is addiction to negative thoughts. This is not uncommon. I'm working on it. Because what happens is you start to, people will say, oh, well, I smoke because it's a habit. It's a habit. Oh, I just do it now. I don't even think about it. Well, I don't think about the negative thoughts. They just happen. Is that really an excuse? I don't know if that's really an excuse, for me at least. It's something that the subconscious mind is choosing. It's easy. It's a release. It's some sort of like you go towards doing things that are not serving you because they are serving you in other ways, but they're not serving you ultimately to your spiritual growth. So if someone says to me, yeah, I just pick up a cigarette, that's it. I don't think about it. It's numbness. You've become numb to the real deep core of the issue. There's a deep trauma. Most of the time, multiple traumas. Some people know, but they're not ready to deal with it. And some people really don't know. They just think they're just picking up a cigarette just because it's there, because they have it. It's not actually that simple necessarily. And until you really dig deep and find the truth of what's driving it, there's usually a feeling or a sensation that brings you to do something like that. And it's usually a disconnect from the self, put simply. So my negative thoughts are disconnect. It's a form of disconnect from my truth, because if something happens and I'm like just immediately to the worst thing possible, and I misinterpret and I change to be like the worst thing possible, it's my way of trying to control the situation so that if the worst thing happens, then I'm not going to be surprised, I'm so aware of it that I can even explain how it happens and why it happens. It's just it's somehow a level of finding peace by being negative. It's so contradictory, but it's true. So this is why I feel like if you're going to try and get help for addiction, it's not, so I do hypnotherapy, right? Some people have tried in the past when I wasn't being really true to what I actually am here to do. I was just offering hypnotherapy. I couldn't help them because they came to me thinking that I would wave a magic wand and then their smoking would just go away. And I wish I could do that. I mean, maybe one day I'll have that capacity, but it's not necessarily that. You have to go deep inside yourself. And it might be something when you were 3 years old. You might not realize how connected it is to you picking up that cigarette. You might not even realize that trauma is there. To be honest, some people remember things they never thought about. If they are ready for it, they will go there. What I'm doing is just guiding them to the root. So I really encourage you to think about this. If you are having any issues with addiction and you're open to it, you can heal yourself. I don't expect addictions to disappear like that. For some people, they do. But you have to be careful, because if one thing's gone and you're not fully healed, the depth of the issue is not healed, you might reach for something else. Changes do happen, layers come off, but you have to really go deep inside yourself to really discover the truth. I think that's all I have to say about that for now. Anyone who does want my help, and you feel that you're called to come to me for guidance, I'm more than willing to kind of just talk and see if we're the right fit. I'm Elvira, or Elvie, and I'm a naturopath, medical intuitive. I do Reiki, hypnotherapy. My sessions basically combine all my modalities. Whatever I feel needs to happen, happens. My website should be, I'll put it under this video. It's revitalizelife.ca. So you can contact me through there or Facebook and Instagram. Thank you for listening.